What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Lucid. Give you a quick overview of some of the data points, what's moving it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. Lucid is down 0.2%. We are currently in power hour, 248 the low, 253 the high. Kind of low volume, so 28.8 mil for the volume, 39.02 is the average. On the secondary market, regrettably, only 4 transactions and all of them are sells. So 300, 103, 250,000, and then 533. So that is ultimately what caused that sell-off first thing. But majority of the volume being done today is actually linked to algorithmic trading, as well as shorts. I'll go over that in a second, but today there wasn't any news, so that's what made this very, very random. Sometimes you do see this happen with Lucid, where it's just a very quick spike up, but you normally don't get it twice. And based on the price of $2.60, I would make a random guess that it is correlated with the recent dilution. It just doesn't make all that much sense because the recent issuance price was $2.59 0.1. And so ultimately you can just go to the open market and buy it. You don't have to go through with that, right? Because I believe there was that stipulation that Bank of America could buy another 39 mil shares, that they had 30 days to do that. There's no other explanation why these random spikes are occurring, but still maybe something to kind of monitor. But no news from Lucid itself, no SEC filings, nothing like that. They did open up this, so the questions from retail to management. I've already done a full dedicated video all about this and why I'm kind of not really pleased with it. But regardless, a couple of good questions did move up the list, essentially, if that makes sense, since I did that video. So Skylar's question right here: how does international expansion look? Do you plan to offer vehicles in more countries? I think that is a very good question. There was another one from Skylar. I don't know who that is, but very intelligent, clearly, because you can tell that they're thinking outside the box. This other question right here: are you exploring any options on the autonomous front, even if it's just a licensing deal and whatever else? So I think those are some good questions that needs to be asked. A lot of these other questions in regards to just the stock performance and just the profitability, I think those questions won't be asked. But aside from that, the only thing that really came out was Lucid Oasis. And it goes to show that a new studio in Hamburg was opened. So very good stuff, conquering Europe step by step. And I really do like that about Lucid, the fact that it's trying to target all the areas that have a lot of demand. And Europe definitely does have a lot of demand. So I think that should be fairly good for Lucid. Aside from that, though, there was this that kind of was more so talking on just Lucid. And so it said, hey Lucid, isn't this your job to post this type of information? And in my opinion, this has been a ongoing issue with Lucid. It's just the fact that they seem to not really care. Sometimes they go through spurts of like being very updating information and giving this type of posts out there, but sometimes they just go through a extended period where they don't do jack all, where it leaves it to individuals like Lucid Oasis, who may or may not be an employee based on all their posts that they've done. But aside from that, I feel like this is also something that could be really brought up for these questions. As I mentioned in my earlier video, marketing definitely does need to step up. And I think a question being posed to management just on what they plan on doing in the foreseeable future to rectify their gaps in marketing does need to be done. But aside from all of that, though, shorts are currently increasing to, now it's 1.54 million, so they did return a little bit, but 19.75% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 235.37 million shares. Cost to borrow average is 2.82. Cost to borrow minimum, though, is negative 0.07. So in case you don't know, I have multiple different YouTube channels and I cover a lot of different stocks. So interesting point, though, I've not really seen this happen with Lucid. We already know it's heavily shorted, heavily manipulated, but you don't see this happen all that much. So right now the cost to borrow minimum is negative, meaning there is a broker out there physically paying people to short Lucid. So I don't know which broker it is. It's not 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗃𝗧 because you could tell that based on here, they are charging 1.83. So there is a broker out there physically really trying to drum up business. This does happen more commonly than not with my other stock I cover, and that is 𝗖𝗧. So I don't know if there's some correlation, but I think the entities that are shorting 𝗖𝗧 are primarily American entities. So maybe this broker, assuming it is the same thing. Yeah, I don't know. Still, I'm just bringing it up to your guys' attention. If this is something, maybe just pop over to your brokers and see exactly what they are charging. We might be able to conclude exactly who that is. But aside from that, moving over to this, 1.16 million in calls, 273,000 in puts. There is this right here, very similar. So 500,000 between 1245 and 1250, and then 355,000 between 1105 and 1110. 59% of all the options being done are so far bearish, and I do believe a lot of those two candles are somewhat bearish. So just organizing it based on the premiums. So yeah, it looks like they are relatively bearish. So someone is selling calls, and so that does mean that they are anticipating for it to be sub 250 by January 16th, 2026. So big money seems to be betting on Lucid to continue to trend down. Of the call options that are being purchased today, you see a consensus for it to be above roughly 250/$3. So the optimism for it to be above that has kind of diminished. And as far as puts goes, you have a consensus for it to be sub 250, and that seems to be pretty much the foreseeable future. So let me know your thoughts on that. As far as right now with it at $2.49, it is trading between this S2 and this S1. So 233 is going to be a strong support, wasn't touched whatsoever this week. And then $2.53, which was the high for today, is going to be the next strong resistance / target. But quickly popping over to 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗃𝗧𝗧, you can kind of just see generally the technicals, as I've been bringing up, are rather horrific. So it's I think that's right now people are just waiting for Lucid's upcoming earnings to hopefully give some insight on what they plan on doing for the foreseeable future. I think that might be the next big catalyst. Tesla went up like 25 something % from their earnings, giving good future guidance. Same could happen for Lucid, but I think even what Elon mentioned in his opening statement on his earnings, they are the only profitable EV out there, even profitable division. So I think Lucid does really need to get their shit together and try to strive for the best. Not enough of just focusing on the technology, and I think you need to really start focusing and diverting a lot of your attention to just producing more and more vehicles. That is what is going to get through profitability faster than focusing so much on tech. So that's just my opinion. Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. Give yourself a shout out. Did you buy today? Did you sell? What did you do? And two things, as I've been sharing with you, even though Lucid does its thing, take advantage of this. It does give you 8 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. So that's a kick-ass deal, and free is amazing. Aside from that, I did launch memberships. So if you like the channel, want to support the growth, you can definitely do so. Or if you just want buy signals on stocks and options, that is also a tier for you as well. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.